AI has made building product cheap and fast, which means that executives, founders, and advisors are making bad bets faster than ever before, burning through ideas that were never going to work. And the skill that separates the winners from the losers is not technical anymore. It's knowing what to build, for whom, and why before you build it. And today I'm going to show you what this skill set looks like through the story of a student who chose not to pursue her idea and why that was her biggest success. Hello, smart people. How are you today? Is spring upon you wherever you are? I hope the sun is shining. Anyway, today I want to tell you about one of my students who recently went through our program. And she's a successful businesswoman and she had an idea for another venture, so for a tech venture. And because she's a successful business and because she actually had money to hire developers, and she even had developers that she liked and that she trusted in her network. So basically, she kind of had almost everything to get going. But she wanted to do it properly. She wanted to go through the proper product development process and then see where that led her. So she could have made the unwise choice and hired her developers immediately, but she joined our program instead. In our program, you get 3 product development sessions where you learn to build your test product using AI. And then you get feedback from your target customers. We teach you how to do that. And then you use that information to decide what to do next. So, do you pivot? Do you build? Do you fundraise? And we help you make a strategy for all of these options. So, if you want to build, we help you work out who actually you need to hire, how much you're going to pay them, and so on. And another option that you might end up choosing is that you could decide not to pursue your idea at all. And this is exactly what happened to this founder. So when she built her test product and she got feedback from the market, she saw 2 things. So first, she saw that yes, the need for her product was there. There was definitely a use case. But second, and this is important, the people who would pay for the product were different from the people who would use the product. And it looked like it would be really difficult to convince the buyers to pay for the user's needs. So basically, I've actually seen this happen before with enterprise software ideas because when you have pain that's felt by junior low paid staff, and it's basically the senior people who control the budget, and often the senior people, they don't really care enough, and they see that the cost of implementing a whole new software system is basically too much. So they are just quite happy for the junior staff to live with the pain. And I've seen this happen before, and I've seen it and I saw it again with this particular venture. So this founder decided that this was a challenge she did not want to overcome. It's possible, maybe somebody could overcome it, but she thought, this is too difficult. I don't want to do this. So she decided not to pursue the venture and to focus on her existing business instead. And that is a wonderful thing. She actually wrote me a really lovely thank you email saying how glad she was to have gone through our process and got the data and made a sensible decision based on evidence. And she also learned a skill set that she can now apply to another idea and another one and another one. And also she can use that skill set to improve her existing business. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to be honest with you. When you start building a product, you have to be open to real feedback, not what you want to hear. And sometimes this means that hearing that what you want to build, that your idea in its current guise is not going to work, or that it could work, but it's going to take a lot more effort than, frankly, you're prepared to put in. And you're going to find this out either way. So you're going to find this out quickly or slowly. So this founder found out in 6 weeks for $2,000, and she gained a skill set that she can use for the rest of her life. Without our process, it would have taken her more time and a lot more money because it usually takes people about 6 months to a year and about $100,000 in development costs to figure it out otherwise. So she basically saved $98,000, almost a year of her life. It's not bad, right? Anyway, so here's what I want you to understand. If you learn the product innovation skill set, you literally cannot fail. And this is especially true in the age of AI because you can use the skill set for whatever idea you have next, either as a founder or an investor or an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur in a corporate. And this actually matters more in the age of AI, not less. And here's why. So AI makes building faster and cheaper. And this sounds good, right? But this actually means that there are more entrants in the market. So think of basic economics, right? So the costs of building have gone down. So the supply of innovators, the supply of ideas being created, that has increased. So there's there are more people building, there's more noise in the market, there's more competition for attention. So the bottleneck used to be, can I build this? And now more than ever, it's really, this exists. Should I build this? Will anybody pay? How do I know before I spend time and money? And product development skills are how you answer those fundamental questions. Because without the skill set, you're basically building faster garbage. Because people can use ChatGPT to generate code. And it's not going to be great code. It's going to have errors in it. But then if technical founders can use ChatGPT to generate code. As a non-technical founder, you can use AI to prototype. So you can spin up a landing page in an hour. But if you're building the wrong thing for the wrong people, whether you're technical or not technical, you're just failing faster. So there has really been this shift from just the importance of technical execution to judgment. And technical execution still matters, but it's secondary. So here's what's changed. Pre-AI, the hardest part was execution, so finding developers, managing the build, dealing with technical complexity. And this is still difficult. But this part now comes a bit later than it used to, because these days you can actually delay hiring professionals for a while, and you can really understand where you're going and what your market opportunity is, and really understand what your investment costs are going to be. And so that has actually driven down your costs and your stress levels. So post AI, the really difficult thing is actually judgment. So what should you build? Who actually needs the thing that you're building? How do you validate demand? And when should you pivot? And do you know what's a pivot and basically what's an iteration? And my student's story proves this, because she had money for developers. She had access to technical talent that she had worked with before. So money and talent, they were not the constraint. It was judgment of the market and judgment of the opportunity that was the constraint. It was understanding the user dynamic versus the buyer dynamic. It was calculating the ROI on effort. Isn't it so much better to just look at something and think, you know what, I could theoretically do it, but it looks really, really difficult. And frankly, I don't want to. The opportunities in front of me already pretty good. So I'm not going to do this really, really difficult thing. And this is what she got out of our program. And this is the product development skill set, because the product development skill set trains your judgment. And this is a skill set that compounds, because every product you test, every user interview you run, every pivot you make sharpens your judgment as an innovator. It makes you a better innovator, which means that 5 years from now, you will see opportunities that others missed because you have trained this muscle. And as a non-technical founder, this is your mode, because you can't out code technical founders. You can't out AI anyone because we all have access to the same tools. But you can out validate, out research, and out strategize. Product development skills are what let you compete with people who can code and build better products than them in the age of AI. And you see what I'm saying to you is that, okay, in a really, really, like in a good scenario, still realistic, but in a good scenario, you validate your idea, you understand who your target customers are, you really understand what product you're building and your marketing messaging to them, and then we help you figure out how you're actually going to build this thing. This is a really, like, really good scenario. It has happened to quite a few of our students. But if that doesn't work out, what I'm saying to you is that this skill set is going to carry on basically paying paying back for itself for years to come. And the reason why I want you to think about this long term is that when you start building a tech venture, whatever happens with that tech venture, your identity changes, and you start seeing yourself as a tech innovator. And whatever you end up doing today or in 2 years' time or in 3 years' time, some of it is going to work, some of it is not going to work. But this is a skill set, this is a long-term skill set in the future. This is a long-term investment in your future. And the reason why I want you to think long-term is that I think, there are a lot of people on the internet who are basically saying, learn this skill set, and then in 6 weeks, gold will come rushing down to you and wonderful things will start happening. So in my view, whenever I hear that, I basically really, really don't believe it, because no skill set is something that you just learn today and then tomorrow you make loads of money and everything is wonderful. There isn't anything like that. So, for example, I got an MBA from one of the world's top business schools. It doesn't mean that I got this certificate and then all of a sudden people were just throwing money at me. I mean, I wish, but that never happened. So when you are thinking about the skills that you want to develop for yourself for the future, this is one of those long-term skill sets that you literally can't go wrong with. And yes, in a good case scenario, the idea that you want to develop, it works. And then in a few months' time, you have a venture, you have funding, you have a product that works, you have people paying for your product. And that has actually happened to our students. But I also want you to see that even the worst case scenario is still really, really good. Because even in the worst case scenario, you get the skill set. And okay, maybe this idea doesn't work, but something else will. Or maybe you can use this skill set to get the job of your dreams. So we've literally had alumni of our program become venture capitalists, lead digital transformation in large corporates, get jobs as product developers and product managers in large companies. And the reason why they could do that is because they learned this skill set and they actually had created a product and they could go through this whole innovation skill set when they were interviewing for these positions. So let me break down what product development skills actually mean in practice. So, number one, market validation. Can you spot real need versus nice to have? Can you tell the difference between somebody being polite and somebody who will actually pay? This is super, super important no matter what you're doing in your career. User research. Can you run interviews that reveal truth instead of politeness? Can you ask questions that get past what people think you want to hear? Problem solution fit. Can you tell if your solution actually solves the problem that the person has? Or are you building something really clever that nobody has asked for? That's really tempting to do with it in the age of AI. Number four, do you have business model clarity? Can you tell the difference between who is paying and why they're paying and whether the unit economics are going to work? And number five is pivot logic. Can you tell the difference between we have to iterate and this is fundamentally wrong and we should move on? So pivot versus iteration. These are not abstract concepts. These are practical skills that directly impact whether you waste money or whether you make money. So these days, I'm seeing two types of founders emerging in the age of AI. So type one is using AI to build faster. And they're writing on LinkedIn about it a lot. So they burn through ideas quickly. They launch multiple products because it's just so exciting to build things. And then when nothing works, they blame the market or timing or bad luck. And they're basically like they're moving very, very quickly, but they're kind of just spinning in a circle. So type two uses product development skills to validate faster. So if you're actually looking at them externally, it looks like they're moving slowly, but essentially they are validating faster, which means that when they're ready to go, they move faster than the rest of the market because they only build what has been proven. They use AI to execute efficiently after they have confirmed demand. And so both of these types have access to the same tools and only one succeeds. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you have heard me talk about my students who have built their ventures in less than a year. So they've literally gone from having no knowledge of software, no knowledge of technology, but just having an idea, having an insight into the market. They have gone from literally nothing to live product with paying customers in 7 months and in 9 months. And this is how you do it. First, you work slowly to validate. And then once you've validated everything and you have a smart strategy, you just move on to execution. This is how you move fast and break things, right? So I've also seen people saying, well, you know what? I'm just going to build it with AI because I can just do it and then I'm going to see what happens. And this is basically the 2026 version of my cousin can code it for free. That has very rarely ended well. Faster building means faster burning through bad ideas, and the discipline of validation before building is basically the only thing that saves you. So my students spent 2 grand in 6 weeks, and the alternative used to be 100 grand in a year. Anyway, so now I want to share some action items with you so you can actually take what you've learned today and turn it into something real. So if you have an idea right now, do not rush to build it. Don't hire anybody. Don't try to build it with no code tools because honestly, many of them are just really difficult to use and actually take ages and you can't customize them. And certainly, do not spend ages creating the perfect pitch deck because there is no such thing. Okay. Instead, learn the product development process. So, number one, build a test version with AI, not the full product, but a small, quite thin test version, just enough to show the concept. Number two, Get it in front of your real potential users, not your friends, not your family, but people who would actually pay for it. Figure out, would they pay for it? Number three, listen to what they tell you and actually hear them. Don't just listen to what you want to hear, but what they're actually saying, because maybe the best thing is going to be to abandon this particular idea. Number four, make a decision based on data and not hope. And the decisions are going to be pivot, build, fundraise, or walk away. They're all legitimate choices. Number five, repeat this process for every idea you have. This is the skill set. This is what separates founders who succeed from founders who waste years and lots of money and lots of stress. And in the age of AI, when everyone can build, this is the only sustainable advantage that you have. And I run a program that teaches this. Obviously, I believe in it. But I also want to be honest with you, because not every single one of our students is going to launch the company that they came to our program with. And that is a really, really good thing, because some, like the founder that I told you about, they decide not to pursue their idea based on the data that they got in our program. And that is a success, because no matter what, they have learned the skill. They saved themselves about $98,000 in almost a year, and they made a smart decision based on data. And when they have their next idea, and they will, they'll know exactly how to validate it. And this is what I want for you. I don't want blind optimism. I don't want just believe in yourself and it will work out. I mean, yeah, definitely believe in yourself, but also have a system. Have a system to make sure that it works out and that you're making decisions based on data, not based on hope. Smart, data driven decision making gives you the best possible chance of success. So if you want to learn the skill set, then I highly recommend that you check out the Tech for Non-Technical Founders program. You'll learn how to build your test product, how to validate it with real users, and how to make strategic decisions based on that data and not on guesswork. And you can learn more about that at techfornontechies.co. And my dear smart person, if you think that this episode has inspired you or has taught you something new or has given you an insight, then you can help the show reach other ambitious people like you. So first, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. Second, give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts, and that literally takes you just a few seconds. And if you want to go the extra mile, and I would love for you to do that, then leave a rating, then leave a review telling us what really clicked for you. So thank you very much in advance for that. And on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a wonderful day, and I shall be back in your delightful smart ears next week. Ciao.